there's a lot of things that you got to get sorted out in here, and the trail's going to be there. It'll always be there, but it won't solve everything. So think about some of those things that you need to get sorted out in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit, because those things matter. Those things will give you a more enriched experience when you're out here if you sort them out before you come out here, because otherwise you just want to keep walking and walking and walking and walking. You ever gonna find it? What's going on, y'all? It's been a little bit. I have a lot to catch y'all up on, but as you can see, I have some beautiful scenery going on behind me. And I've recently been thinking a lot about the trail. And in the beginning of this series, of this interview series, one of the things that I promised to talk about was not just the good things, but also some of the negative things that come up on the Appalachian Trail. Some of the things that we may not be aware of. And I think a lot of what goes into that is that we have certain expectations before we come out here. Not only expectations, but I also think kind of to go along with expectations, there are certain myths that are often talked about before you come out on the trail. And some of those things can be true, while others not so true. One of the things that I would like to state before I really get into some of the details in this video is that what I'm talking to you about doesn't ring true for everyone. We all come from different environments, different backgrounds in life. Some of us are more established. Some of the younger crowd especially, aren't. And so I'm going to speak more so for myself. I'm not speaking for everyone, but I do think that there's bits and pieces of what I'm going to say that everyone can take with them. And so I hope maybe if you can't resonate with everything that I'm saying, that you can take just a few things away from what I'm saying that might help you on your journey. And you saw the title of the video. I'm in no way trying to dissuade anyone from hiking the Appalachian Trail. But what I want to do, in both of my hikes, I've been able to learn a lot. And I want you to learn from my mistakes, because just because you finished the trail doesn't mean you necessarily did everything right. And when I look back on my journeys and this journey overall, I think that there's a lot of things that I could have done better. And who's to say that I would change anything? But now that I have this platform and I'm able to communicate with you guys, I want to share some of that with you. So again, I'm talking for myself and for those who can resonate with me, that are in my boat, not for everyone. So what I want to do in this video is I want to break down some of those myths, some of the things that you might have heard before coming out here that may have some truth to it, but may also not be very helpful as far as managing certain expectations before coming out here. And so I want to break those down into two broader categories. One of those being, you will come out here and you will be a healthy person. You're going to be a healthy living machine out here, and you're going to finish the trail and you're going to look like a Greek god or goddess. And for the ladies, I can tell you that is true. A lot of women have come out a lot more muscular, looking a lot more built. For a lot of the men, it is true. You finish the trail a little more inebriated, kind of looking like you've been starving for 6 months, kind of looking like you just hiked 2,200 miles. So it is true that you will look more healthier. But I think a lot goes into health, and some of the things that don't get talked about as much are some of the repercussions, some of the side effects of doing a thru hike. A thru hike is a long journey. It's 2,200 miles. And I do think that living a healthy, active lifestyle is a good thing, and I do think that you can reap a lot of benefits from being out there. But one of the things that I do believe is that the human body, when it comes to super athletic, super endurance kind of activities like thru hiking and or ultra marathons and kind of long distance athletic sports, is that we're made for survival. And while we're completely capable of doing a thru hike and doing these long distance affairs, it probably isn't the best thing for our body in the long run, in the grand scheme of things over the long course of life. So it's a good thing that a thru hike is only 6 months, because things get kind of jacked up, whether it's your tendons, your bones for some people, and for younger people, I would say this, and this applies to everyone, but I think one thing that gets overlooked is your hormones. I'm by no means a scientist. I am not a doctor, but I think there's a lot that goes into hormones and how they change over the course of a thru hike when you are literally become addicted to the endorphins, to the serotonin, to the dopamine that you get when you're hiking, when you are constantly making progress day in and day out. So you have to think about how you're going to integrate back into society after this trail. How are you going to get that endorphin release? How are you going to get that dopamine, that serotonin, those good feelings, those accomplishing feelings that your body produces? How are you going to do that when you get off trail? Because you can't just come back and do nothing. And I think that's a big part of what this whole post-trail depression is. And again, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a therapist, psychologist, but I think a lot of those things go into play when we're talking about post-trail depression. A lot of chemicals going on up here, and I experienced it. On that same note, and again, this kind of ties into the fulfillment part, but before you come out here, you really need to have a plan as far as what you're going to do to occupy yourself out here. A lot of people think that they're just going to listen to the birds and the bees when they come out here, and some other people, they're okay with listening to music and podcasts, and they have no beef against that either. Some people do both. I'm not tied to one in particular, but one thing I did find myself doing a lot when I was on trail was distracting myself. I distracted myself a lot with podcasts, with music. Got tired of music after a while. I kind of just got in these like little music loops. I couldn't find the right song ever, and I was kind of trying to find the mood. And I could never find the mood, so I was just like, okay, I'm just going to listen to podcasts. And so I did. I listened to a lot of podcasts. Shout out to Joe Rogan. I listened to podcasts all day, every day on trail, and it was great. Did I find myself being distracted constantly on trail? Yes, I did. And granted, yes, there was moments when I would pause and, not listen to anything. But I would say create a reward system for yourself during the day, or give yourself an allocated set of time that you can be on electronics, because a lot of people think you're just coming out here to the wilderness, you're getting away from technology, but I can tell you one thing, you're going to find service if you have Verizon. Verizon is the superior service on trail. You're going to find service on top of every mountain, every single mountain out here. I remember being in Maine. I was watching the Patriots play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was Tom Brady versus Mac Jones. I remember watching that in the middle of the 100-mile wilderness. So again, if you want to distract yourself, you can, but you're not going to reap a lot of benefits doing that. You might accomplish your goal, and I did both times, but I look back on it now and I say, well, what could I have done with that time? Am I okay with the silence? Am I okay with the stillness? I can't tell you that I am. And one of the things that made it very difficult for me coming back was I was addicted to distracting myself. And distracting yourself doesn't just apply to technology out here. It also applies to narcotics. This is something that I feel like a lot of people aren't talking about before they come out here, aren't considering before they come out here, but it's very prevalent out here. You will be able to distract yourself, keep yourself occupied with narcotics while you're out here. Do I need to go into specifics of that? I don't think I will. But let me just say that everything in moderation is okay. It's all right. But don't find yourself chain smoking cigarettes or weed or whatever it is while you're out here, because it's going to be hard to do without. I think that's like with at any point in your life, if you can't do without something, well, now you've got a problem. I can attest to some of that personally for a lot of other people. So, for what it's worth to you, if you're coming out here to quit something, good on you. It's going to be hard. Because the rigors and the demand, the physicality of the trail is hard. So think to yourself, how much do you want it? How much do you want to be sober? And also consider to yourself, all right, if I am going to indulge, let me not take it too far, because that can be something that contributes to an unhealthy lifestyle. I've seen it, and I've lived some of it. So those are two parts of kind of the whole healthiness thing. The third part of it, I would say, is I've seen a lot of people, they get off trail, and what do? They gain a lot of weight back very quickly. Why is that? Well, when you're out here hiking, your body goes into, okay, you are burning a 5,000 calories, you need to eat everything in sight. You're starving, dude. Eat everything you can. And that doesn't stop when you stop hiking. So you need to realize that could happen to you. You're going to have a ferocious appetite. And that can be managed. I would say keep up your physical routine when you get back home, and try and mitigate the weight gain as much as you can, because I don't know, I'm no statistics person, but I would say 70% of the people 80% maybe of the people that I've seen hike and finish have put on a ton of weight, not just a little bit of weight, a ton of weight when they got back, because that appetite doesn't stop. And that kind of ties back into even on the trail. You are eating garbage. I mean, there's some people, yeah, they put a lot of effort, put a lot of money into eating healthy out here, but it's hard. You gotta invest the time, invest the energy into mail drops, or spend a ton of money in very specific Whole Foods markets, or it's hard. There's some of the food that you have to take on the trail is pure garbage, and it's good, and you really like eating good food, tasty food, especially when you're in town. You want to eat every burger in sight, and you probably should stack up on the protein, but a lot of the food that you're taking on trail with you is processed. It's not good for you, and you can look good, and you can be doing good on the trail, but your body could be in terrible shape because you're putting garbage in you every single day. And I think, a through hike isn't long enough to where I feel like people really start to see the repercussions of that while they're on trail, especially because you're burning so many of those calories. You're burning most of that stuff off anyways. But the second you get home, man, it's gonna catch up to you. So, with that being said, take all those things into account as far as your health. Now into a little more of a deeper subject. Now we're talking about fulfillment. And this is something that, again, it varies greatly depending on where you're coming from in life, how well you're established, what you're going back to. But for the young, single people out there, I'm married now, but I was single when I hiked, and one of the things you need to at least admit to yourself before you get on the trail is why you're going out there. And that's a big question. I'm not saying it's simple. I don't immediately ask those people that question right away because it's so jam-packed, and a lot of people don't know. I don't even know if I could tell you that I knew the exact reason why I was going out there. But for me specifically, and I think this applies to a lot of young people on trail, they're going out there because they're escaping. They're escaping life. They're running from it. For me, I didn't feel equipped to deal with life, with the quote-unquote real life, which again, it's we can go into that rabbit hole. But when you're out here, right, you're in the matrix, you're doing the job thing, you've got the rent thing or the mortgage thing. It's overwhelming. It's a lot. It is a whole lot, and I think a lot of people would agree here that we've gotten away from a lot of the bare necessities of life and the simple things, and those things can, for sure, they can be found on trail. But eventually you're going to have to come back to it. I was afraid of that, and so I kept running. I kept hiking. I kept hiking to the point that hiking became easy for me. Hiking was the escape. Hiking wasn't this, when I first started, it was this, the idea of it was this grand achievement. It seemed something so wonderful. And I felt like if I could only achieve this thing, that I would feel fulfilled, that I would be content, that right, and you've heard it, if you can do the trail, you can do so many other things in life. And I don't think that's not true. But for me, I never felt that way. In fact, after my first hike, and even after my second, I felt like, wow, I love hiking, but I feel like this is the only thing I'm cut out to do. So if you're feeling that way, this trail, it's not going to solve those problems. And maybe for some it will. Maybe for some you'll come out here and you'll have this grand revelation, and the seas will part, the sky will open, and all the answers will be in front of you. But all these hikers, right? All these guys that have done these multiple trails and keep hiking these trails, I've seen one common thread, one common denominator, and it's that it's, we finish it, we feel good about it, we're happy for ourselves, but what's next? What's next? And a lot of us don't want to go back into the matrix. We don't want to do the 9 to 5. We don't want to have a house. We don't have all this obligation, responsibility. It's overwhelming. So try and get to the root of some of that before you come out here, because it'll save you a lot of suffering if you're able to enjoy the experience for what it is. And it's a beautiful experience, and you will find a lot of fulfillment in it, and you will be better for it. I don't think that I'm not better for it. This trail's given a lot to me. I met my wife on the trail, but there's a lot of things that you got to get sorted out in here, and the trail's going to be there. It'll always be there, but it won't solve everything. So think about some of those things that you need to get sorted out in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit, because those things matter. Those things will give you a more enriched experience when you're out here if you sort them out before you come out here, because otherwise you just want to keep walking and walking and walking and walking. You ever gonna find it? I don't know if I have, but for me specifically, I know that I want certain things in life. I wanted a family. I wanted to find someone who I can love for the rest of my life, and I did, and it's wonderful. And the second thing that goes along with that fulfillment, have a plan when you get back. Don't just, and I may have mentioned this prior, don't just come back and do nothing. I found that a lot of people who are established, who have families that they're coming back to, who have a job that they're coming back to even, they do a lot better coming back than a lot of us who have come back from the trail and kind of had to figure it out. And that's really tough, because you're still trying to process everything that you just went through on that trail, and trying to find a job and trying to find all these answers for things that you find and seem so meaningless. It's tough. It's really tough. So have a plan, have something set for you, so when you get back, you're not struggling. Another thing that goes along with fulfillment is community, and more specifically the social aspect of the trail. And I've had many meaningful relationships on trail and deep, profound experiences. I've also struggled a lot out there because essentially you have all these people that are going out onto the trail, and a lot of people lean on others, especially in the beginning. They're trying to find their tribe. They're trying to find the people that will help them feel safe, that will make them feel like they're part of that tribe. And as an introvert myself, as somebody who's introverted but craves intimacy, that craves friendship and community, it's really tough for me to acclimate to certain social groups on trail, especially my second year. 2020 was a different story. It was a lot smaller group. 2021 was very difficult because people start clicking up. Cliques are a thing on the Appalachian Trail. So if you struggle with that, I don't think that necessarily means find your clique either. My recommendation would be to find beauty in those individual experiences with people. One of the most enriching things in my hike was breaking away from that group and connecting with people, engaging with people on that one-on-one level. Because then they didn't have to penetrate the bubble of the group. I could just talk to them freely, and they could talk to me, and there wasn't all these walls and social structures that they had to overcome just to find a connection. So you've got the fulfillment piece, right? What are you trying to get out of this experience? Are you running from something? Are you running to something? That's probably better. But for those who fall in that running from something camp, it's tough. So embrace it. Take it head on before you come out here. Or when you finish, embrace that conflict. Say, okay, I'm running from something. What is it? Let me engage it. Let me take it head on. And I will be a more better person for it. And that's what I've had to do. I wanted certain things out of life, so I embraced it. And I got married. And right now, I am in Austria, in the Alps. And it's been a beautiful experience so far. Me and my wife are on our honeymoon. And as of right now, we are closing on a house. And right now, I'm just kind of floating around on the breeze, but when I get back, I'm gonna have to find a job. And that's just the reality of it. And there's so many parts of myself that are afraid. And something that really helped me it gave me great perspectives. I was talking with one of my good friends from the trail, Tom. He's a Triple Crowner now. He's actually doing AT again. But I was telling him about my experience, how I met my wife, how we're getting married, and we're going to do all these things, have all these plans. And he told me that scares him to death. That would scare him to death. And I said, man, Tom, that scares me too. That really does. But I'm embracing the challenge, and there's more to life in this trail, at least for me. I'm not saying that it's the case for everyone. If you feel called to do these trails, by all means go and do it. But the challenge didn't become the trail for me anymore. I knew I could hike the trail. I did it twice. Just because I did it twice doesn't mean I can do it a million times, but it became too comfortable for me. And so I think we should always, in that respect, seek discomfort, especially if it aligns with our values, with our priorities in life. And so that's what I'm trying to do right now. And, we started this community, this channel, with very Appalachian Trail specific videos with hikers. And they're the cream of the crop, in my opinion. These people that I interviewed, they're hand-selected. They're great people. They treated me with a lot of respect and the people around them as well, and that's why I chose them. But the Appalachian Trail experience is so much more than being on the trail itself. It's a very short period of time, window within life. It's 6 months, 6-7 months, and that's it. And so the trail manifests its way through life in different ways. And that's the phase that I'm in life right now. Lots of things are changing. I'm not on the trail anymore. I'm on my honeymoon. And so we're going to still do interviews in the future. But going forward, I might do similar videos to this, kind of give you some of my perspectives on the trail, things that resonate with me, things that I'm thinking about or processing. Because, again, you thru hike, but for the rest of your life, you're processing that. You can't just all process it immediately. Especially these vloggers that are out there. I mean, there's only so much they can tell you. I mean, they're just trying to hike. But the benefit is hindsight. Hindsight is 20/20. And that's kind of the phase that I'm in life right now. And I'm looking back on things. I'm thinking about it. I'm learning from it. And I'm stepping into this new phase of life, and I want to take you along with me. And so going forward, I took a lot of videos, a lot of clips from this trip that we're on right now. We kind of went all around Germany for 3 weeks. We're in Austria now, going to Hungary and Poland, and then Prague, and then we're going back to the States for a bit. But yeah, that's what we're up to right now, and I'm looking forward to what's to come. Like I said, we'll do some more interviews going forward, but I want to show you some of my life, some of what we're up to right now, some of the things that I'm passionate about besides the trail. I like being outside. I like exploring different communities, different places, and that's what we're doing right now. And so I'm happy to take y'all along with me. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this community. It's a small community right now. I don't know how much bigger it'll get. You know, I'm not trying to pander to the algorithm, okay? It takes me a while to put together some of these videos because I want them to be of quality and to represent me and my personality and this life that I'm living. So be it, if it doesn't find its way to the algorithm. But I am thankful for you guys that are here. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see y'all in a bit. Peace.